Hello, this is StyleCon coming at you today from the usual location, Tobacco Company in Lemoyne, Pennsylvania. Finishing off my Perdomo cigar. Got a little Old Forge Brewing Company falling down brown ale. Actually, this is pretty good, the combination together. And let's get into today's topic of discussion. And with that, obviously, I do my little notes. Today's topic is actually going to be a serious one. Say StyleCon. Why so serious? Well, because of everything that comes behind the scenes. You say, well, what's today's topic of discussion? And that topic of discussion will be, should you stop buying Swiss watches? You say, StyleCon, Swiss watches, aren't they supposed to be the best? Yes, 100% true. But there are some problems that I like to get resolved with the Swiss. And I hate to say this, but I'm starting to consider them to be a bunch of liars. Now, don't get me wrong, we all lie. You lie, I lie, you lie to your kids, you lie to your wife, you lie to your husband, you lie to your family members, we all lie. I like to lie about small stuff. Hey, honey, does my butt look big in this dress? Actually, I like a fat booty, so needless to say, yes, it does look big, and I do like it. But you know what I'm talking about. But the Swiss, when I first started getting into watches, they never talked about ETA being the backbone of the industry, which ETA was. No one would ever admit to it. Now they do, but at one time they never did, and that bothers me. Then we have a couple other things. You have CNC machines, which Rolex, if you ever checked out newer watch, Time magazine, and they actually had access to Rolex's manufacturing facility. Pretty much everything is done by CNC machines. So that takes a lot of the cost out. So why are you charging me $10,000 for a watch and few human hands touch it? Now, they might have some human hands to do a little bit of finishing and assembly work, but actually, since they do have CNC machines, shouldn't the prices be cheaper when you think about it? Like if with your car, lane detection, when you start swerving out of your lane. At one time, that was a very expensive feature. But needless to say, as the technology has grown, it's cost less. So you can find this in a cheaper vehicle. Back then, you couldn't. If you didn't spend $100,000 or more, you couldn't find it in that particular vehicle. Or even like video games. Actually, let me hold off on that thought. I'll give that to you in a second. No disclosure. And with that, look at your sneakers. Look at your shoes. Look at your shirt. Look at your pants. They all say where it's made at. China, Japan, India, Indonesia, wherever it may be. There's some disclosure, like here in America with cars. I can't speak about the rest of the world because I don't know this, but at one time, there were a lot of American companies claiming that they built American cars. Here, with our country, the legislator, they passed some laws that they had to disclose this, so wherever the parts are coming from, wherever it's assembled, so you'll know where everything is. Just like I said, with your sneakers, your shoes, everything says where it's made. Swiss watches don't do that. And that's another thing that I consider them to be a liar about, because they don't want everybody to know that they're buying a lot of parts from China, which is unfair to you and me as a purchaser or even a fan of the movements of Swiss watchmaking. They should disclose everything, just like anyone else, from your car, from your shirt, to your t-shirt, to your jeans, to your watches. Well, okay, let me take that back. Cheap watches will disclose where they're from, but most expensive watches won't do that. And last but not least, I think there's a lot of price fixing. And this is where I left off with the video games. Video games, there's a lot of price fixing, no doubt about it. If you ever notice, if you have kids or if you play video games yourself, the prices never come down. That same video game can be $50, $60, $70 new when it comes out. You might be able to find it used for less money, but typically the prices always stay the same. Why is that? The technology is here for you to be able to make video games that cost less money, but they don't do it because, needless to say, this is where they make their money at. So they're not going to lower the prices. And my thing is, sometimes when you think about lowering the prices, that can actually create a new revenue stream. Instead of charging $50 for a video game, if you charge $20 for it, instead of selling one game, you might sell 3 games. And with this, and I understand high-end watches, they want to keep it exclusive, but instead of selling 2 Rolexes, or 1 Rolex I should say, you might be able to sell 2 Rolexes. Instead of charging $8,000, you charge $4,000. But needless to say, they're not going to do that. And there's like a couple of brands recently that have actually dropped their price, and the one that comes to mind is Zenith. They had a new CEO come in. He actually dropped the price a few $1,000s on their watches. Why is that? Well, you were charging a couple $1,000s more before, but now you drop the price a few $1,000s because there's that much markup in it, and needless to say, you and I don't see these savings. So for these reasons that I'm giving right now, one part of me is like, screw the Swiss. I'm thinking about German, Japanese, even Chinese watches, because needless to say, they at least give you the facts. They're German watches, they will let you know they're using an ETA movement. If you check out most of their websites, this is an ETA movement. Fine. The Chinese, obviously, their watches on quality are just as good as like the mid-tier Swiss watches. And the Japanese, they are who they are, but Seiko is the only autonomous brand. And those of you that don't know what autonomy is when it comes to watches, that means that they make everything on their own. Even Rolex is not 100% autonomous. They do rely on some outside suppliers, but I would say about 95% of their parts are made in-house, which is a good thing. But these other brands, for as much money as they're charging, they're not telling us everything. And this might be a shock to some of you out there. I will give TAG Heuer much respect. You say, Tag suck. Actually, they may not be the best watch, but you know what? When it comes to transparency, they are the best. They admit that their main movement that they have in their watches, they purchased the designs from Seiko. They admitted that they use Chinese parts in their watches. Tell me in the comments down below, how many other companies out there that are admitting to that? And one thing, as if I've gotten older, don't lie to me. Tell me the truth. If I've gotten fat and ugly, just let me know. I don't care. It might hurt for a minute, it might sting for a minute, but you know what? I appreciate honesty to the utmost. You don't have to lie to me. I'll still like you in the morning, whatever it might be. But needless to say, these brands are starting to piss me off because of all these lies, from ETA not being mentioned a long time ago, and they're using ETA movements, to using Chinese parts, to doing this and to doing that. Come on, Swiss. If anyone is watching this video that's in the Swiss watch manufacturing market, don't lie to me. Just let me know. I'll feel better about it in the morning, and I'll feel like you didn't lube me up and poke me in the pooper, okay, minus the lube. But needless to say, come on, give it to me straight. Once again, this is StyleCon. Thank you for taking the time out of your day to watch my video. If you like the content, if you like the content, give me a thumbs up. Come on, you can do it. And subscribe, and I will check you out in the next video.